Well, I'm just going with the lower estimate there, $810,000, and that renovates downstairs too, for storage. What happens to Rentec? CETA
would move.
Booster Club. CETA would move into City Hall with us?
Correct. I'm not sure about Rentec. There's been some discussion about other opportunities in town to move them. I know that space down there doesn't really work for them either. It's not accessible. When they bring in investors to look at different projects that are going on, it's not the greatest space for them to do that. How much room does Jack need?
Much more room than what they've got, that little.
It has to be
that's for
secured though,
storage.
right?
Yeah, they have to have a safe storage space.
He's not doing it anymore either.
He's not?
He's the backup guy.
Oh.
He's a retired backup guy.
Right. I don't know how that works.
Well,
You know where I'm going with this, Mark?
well, I know where you're going with it, and I'm going to maybe put just a tick of a twist on it. Being that I am a taxpayer, and I am worried about where our taxes are going, and I do want to be financially responsible, I'm going to say, back up what Mr. Bunky said at the last meeting, which is approximately $500,000, or my figure, if I take down the lower level renovation, drops up to 560. The City Hall project, let's say it's 200, you're at $760,000. Go after FEMA, get the $500,000 for the addition, and put your money there. I don't want to see money wasted in the basement.
I don't either.
Just a reminder, Mark, in order to get FEMA money, you have to spend it first, just like we've done on all these other projects.
I understand that, but if we know that we have
And you
that
have to
funding
get it
source
approved.
secured,
That would have to be really looked into at this point.
You have to have all the plans done already too, for them to approve. And you know how,
the speed that they move,
yeah,
I understand.
All we can say is we can do our best. I'm not at all encouraged that they would repurpose that money for an extension. But again, we would do everything we can to try to be successful to make that happen.
I do agree with what the library board has said about doing the project the right way, and that's part of my reasoning, along with adding staff when to go downstairs. I understand that. If it can't be done, it can't be done, but I guess that's where I'm comfortable dollar-wise.
So about 8.
So are we telling the library board not to touch the basement, only renovate upstairs? What about this room, which is supposedly needs to be load bearing?
Again, Your Honor, just to get back, I think what it is, it's an allocation of a building and the resources to outfit it, and it's really up to them how they decide to use it. With all due respect, I think the council can certainly make strong recommendation.
We're in charge of the building and the purse strings, from my understanding.
Until you give them the building.
Until we give them the building, and once we do,
Once
they
they give them
choose
the
to do
money,
it.
once they give them the money, it's not up to us what to do with it.
Correct.
Oh, I understand. And Susan, you think that, because we had this discussion about staffing last week, there's probably some creative ways, I mean, you're gonna need someone, but there's some creative ways to not have a full-time person downstairs as well, at all times.
Nope, that's probably gonna be a full-time.
Okay, what about some of your, volunteers? I mean, I wouldn't go down there and sit down there for a few hours. I mean, if all it is making sure that bad things aren't happening down there, there's gotta be other ways to work this thing out.
And if
That's
it's
all I'm
just
saying.
books, if it's just storage, if it's just a place for a thing to be, there's no reason to be down there.
That's different,
If it's just there.
that's different.
Because that full-time equivalent is going to be $20-something thousand a year. So,
What do you wanna do, Robert?
I'll go along with Mark.
Are you actually gonna say we could spend some money and apply for those USDA dollars?
What Mark said, I believe, I heard him say, is that this $521,000 can be applied toward the renovations
from
Yes.
FEMA,
from FEMA.
no, they won't, I don't think it can be applied towards the renovations. We're going to have to spend something to renovate this.
And then, didn't you also say,
If
though,
they
that
want
you could,
additional, try and get that put in place, if they want
For
more
the
space to extend this building. I don't think it can go 60 feet because we've already stopped it at the flagpole, or before the flagpole, for Veterans Park. I can't remember the measurements right now.
60 feet is right to the center of the flag.
The center of the flag.
which would require a movement there.
Well, it's going to probably anyway, even anything short of that because of your handicapped accessibility.